On May 8th, an engineer on the Claude Code team published a piece called The Unreasonable Effectiveness of HTML. Now, on the surface, it reads like a technical preference. He's saying, when I ask Claude to make me a document, I now ask for HTML instead of Markdown. He's actually even posted 20 self-contained HTML files representing all the different use cases. Now, on the surface, when I read it, it did sound like a developer preference thing. But it isn't, and I'm going to explain why. See, for the last 2 years, AI agents have outputted Markdown. It's basically plain text with headers. It's clean, portable, flat. A Markdown file is a type of document. You can read it, save it, email it, and then basically forget about it. He stopped doing that. In fact, the whole Claude Code team, they all stopped doing that. They started asking for HTML because HTML can carry in the information that Markdown can't. Things like tables, SVG diagrams, code that runs, interactive sliders, all the structured outputs that you can get back within your next prompt. Now, when I read the article itself, he said something that really stuck with me. There's almost no set of information that Claude can read that you cannot fairly and efficiently represent with HTML. It's the early signal I'm seeing that the artifact is stopped being a document and starting to become a small piece of software in itself. I think that a code review is going to ship as an interactive diff viewer. A planning doc is going to ship as a clickable mockup grid. A research report can ship as a live explainer you can poke holes at. And I think that the people building the agents are now not making documents anymore. They're going to start making little browser native objects. And they're going to do it mostly because it's more useful. And I think that's a signal. The format the model uses to talk to you is going to change because you're trying to give it things that require a different output format because the type of work you're giving it has also changed. Now, this is the time I'm going to be a little bit dramatic. I think the Word document is already dead. The PowerPoint document, it's going to become dead. And I think the spreadsheet has a little bit more time, but it's on the clock. If that signals anything to go by, I think that the company that owns the object is going to be own the next decade of office software. 3 constraints all broke within the last 18 months. Constraint 1 was where the work began. I think chat became the front door. You're not opening Word to write a memo anymore. You tell an assistant what you want and it's going to draft the whole thing. And once the starting point is language, the output format of what that is now up for grabs. Constraint 2 is who writes the code. AI coding agents are now shipping workable software without a developer in the room. The brief becomes the build. A non-engineer can now ask for an interactive scenario model and get one in 90 seconds. That 6-week project is now collapsed into a sentence. And constraint 3 is who watches the work. Agents can run asynchronously now. They keep going while you sleep. They're going to check sources, update figures, and regenerate when the chart and the underlying numbers are all changing. The artifact stopped being a snapshot of what you thought on Tuesday. It's going to become a live argument for what's true today. Those 3 constraints, manual starts, developer bottlenecks, static output, they held the file format in place for 30 years. I think all 3 have now broke at once. Concretely, here's what I think is going to come in the next 12 months. A strategy memo doesn't just describe the assumptions that the growth will be 18% next year. It's going to contain a slider. You drag it to 14, and every downstream number is going to repaint. The conclusion is going to rewrite itself. All the risk paragraphs, they're going to escalate, and the board's going to see the argument and not just the headline. If you're writing a sales deck, the sales deck doesn't ship as one PDF. It's going to ship as an object that re-renders by the industry. The healthcare prospect is going to see healthcare case studies, healthcare compliance language, healthcare logos. The fintech is going to see the same from a fintech perspective. Different views, no more find and replace. The artifact's going to stop being a document. It's going to become a small app. It's going to calculate, explain, persuade, adapt. And that last word, adapt, is the one that I think is really, really important. The artifact adapts. But I think there's always a but. And this one's big. It's the hard part. Generation is easy. Building a slick HTML artifact in 30 seconds, it's a prompt away, it's a demo. But it's not what the enterprise business is going to buy. They're going to demand governance. And right now, I think it's actually quite broken. An Israeli cybersecurity firm called Red Access scanned 380,000 publicly accessible assets, all built with vibe coding tools. Things like Lovable, Base44, Replit. About 5,000 of them had no authentication of any kind. That meant that anyone can access them. 40% of those held sensitive data, medical records, customer service transcripts, even internal financials from a Brazilian bank. Microsoft is really, really strong in this. They own the files, Teams, SharePoint, and the contract. That's 40 years of compliance that they have. Google owns the Drive native collaboration. OpenAI and Anthropic, they own the place where the object is born in itself. Whoever's going to win this category is going to win it on the boring stuff. Things like source lineage, approval flows, export history, the ability to revoke an artifact that never should have been shared in the first place. I think there's also a new entrant. They're having a bit of a midlife crisis with all the different features they're shipping, and they're losing sight of who they are, but they're early on the signal too. Notion. Notion is the company that defined the modern workspace. Right now, it's relaunched itself as a hub for AI agents. There's already 1 million running on the platform. Them, as an incumbent, have announced to the public that the workspace isn't the unit of measurement anymore. The agent and the object are. So what does it mean for you? A lot of professional work today is translation labor. You're going to translate messy thinking into a document, you're going to translate the doc into a deck, then you're going to translate the deck into a spreadsheet. Then you're going to go into a meeting and someone's going to ask a question, and that's going to change the whole of the assumptions within the whole part. That's going to then need to be translated the whole stack again. When the artifact is a live object, that translation work, it's going to largely disappear. The object itself can carry its own evidence. It can carry its own math, its own controls. You're not going to rebuild the same argument in 4 formats anymore. The human's going to get more important, of course, but their job gets exposed. Now, if you're sitting inside a company, the most important question on your desk is not which AI tool should I use? It's who's going to own our objects when the files go away? And that's a conversation worth having this quarter. So tell me below, which file are you actually still going to need in 2028? A Word doc, spreadsheet, slide deck? Name the one that you're going to bet on and the one that you wouldn't. I'm Blake. Thanks for watching.